Insomniac Games, and by extension Sony, was hacked by a hacker group earlier this month, and now they have released a bunch of information mainly pertaining to the upcoming Logan video game. And I gotta say, I actually find this hilarious, mainly because I grew up in a time when hacker groups like Anonymous actually seemed to be doing good in the world. They would create these massive hacks and release information on like people in power who were doing horrible things or try and take down like the Church of Scientology. But now we got these hacktivist companies just trying to get money from game developers because the world's going up in flames anyway. Why try and, I don't know, release the Epstein client list or something? Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and let's talk about these Insomniac Wolverine game leaks and see what Kotaku and some other articles have to say about it. I will say, this has only furthered my suspicion that I'm not even interested in the Wolverine game at this point. Before we get into the articles, hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get to, let's say, 5,000 subscribers by the end of 2024. We can do it. We got 2,000 the first year. Let's go for 5,000 this year. But enough about that. Wolverine PS5 gameplay leaks after unprecedented Insomniac Games hack. There's information on the game's playable characters, plot, gameplay, and so much more. And oh man, I remember when this game was announced. A lot of us do. And it's been radio silence ever since. Now we finally have information after the walloping dog do that was Spider-Man 2, and this game does not sound much better. Well, they've done it. The hacker group that breached Sony subsidiary Insomniac Games on December 12th, demanding $2 million for the terabytes of data it stole, has published almost all of it online now that Sony has refused to open its wallet. This unprecedented hack contains all kinds of internal documents about Spider-Man 2's developers' upcoming projects, including details on the Wolverine PS5 game. At the time of the breach earlier this month, ransomware group Reseda said it had access to the personal data of current and former Insomniac employees, as well as the character art and screenshots from Marvel's Wolverine, the upcoming PlayStation 5 exclusive that the studio is presently working on. Reseda gave by the way, it says PlayStation 5 exclusive. The game, from what I've heard, isn't even set to release until 2026 if these outlets and articles and breach information is all true. So I guess at least you got Grand Theft Auto, you got time to beat Grand Theft Auto 6 before Wolverine hits your tables. Didn't they announce this game in like 2020? I'm getting so tired of these video game companies announcing games so far in advance, giving us time to completely forget about their existence and even more so not care about their existence. Reseda gave Insomniac owners 7 days to pay up, but since the company didn't, the group followed through on its threats and released the stolen data. And it's bad. So what's in some of the files? According to the data floating around online and viewed by Kotaku, the files feature information on Wolverine's release date, playable characters, and plot details, as well as animation and gameplay videos. Now, this article does not go too in-depth on the plot details, but we'll move on to another one that does. So if you're genuinely curious about what sort of tomfoolery was in these leaks, don't worry, I got you covered on that. Just hang tight a little bit longer. Design documents and more. It's a devastating hack, maybe worse than the massive Grand Theft Auto 6 breach from 2022. At this point, look, I remember Sony was hacked in like 2011. I remember they were hacked around the time we found out that Amy Pascal's information got leaked, and we saw that Marvel was going to share the rights with Sony to Spider-Man. Sony got hacked, I believe, earlier this year. That's like 4 Sony leaks in the last 12 years. Bro, that is on average a Sony leak every 3 years. Sony got more leaks than a screen door on a submarine. How would they not improve their cybersecurity? They just don't care. They're too worried about buying up anime studios than changing the dialogue. That way it matches modern day sensibilities. They don't give a damn if all your credit card information gets stolen, if any of your personal data gets stolen, if any of their upcoming confidential information on what should be a multi-million-dollar video game gets stolen. But yeah, no, let's just keep buying anime companies and forcing them to change gender pronouns in the dialogue. That makes sense. Sony's got its priorities straight. As reported by the Australian cybersecurity site Cyber Daily, Reseda said that only 98% of the 1.67 terabytes of data it stole, which contains more than 1.3 million files, have been uploaded. The remaining documents were sold, but it's unclear who bought them. A spokesperson for the specific targets claiming money was the only motive. And again, this bothers me as somebody who grew up as a fan of Anonymous. I was cheering on Anonymous from internet chat boards. They weren't in it for the money. Anonymous disappeared, if the rumors are true, because they were such a divided group by the time 2016 rolled around, because they weren't all collectively on the same page of where they wanted the country or really even the world to go, that now we've got these hacker groups like this obvious that they just care about money. Don't you guys miss Anonymous? Don't you pine for Anonymous and how they completely destroyed the Church of Scientology? But, oh well, you know, you live, you learn, you remember. It is what it is. Reminiscing is fun, isn't it? Yes, we knew who we were attacking, a Reseda spokesperson told Cyber Daily. We knew the developers making games like this would be an easy target. Of course they'd be an easy target. You just saw them get hacked again 3 other times in the last 12 years. No kidding, they'd be an easy target. We were able to get the domain administrator within 20 to 25 minutes of hacking the network. Sony's launched an investigation, but it would be better in the backyard. Kotaku reached out to Insomniac Games and Sony for comment, and Sony told VGC on December 12 that it was aware of the breach and was investigating the situation, and believed no other SIE divisions were impacted. While this isn't the first time Sony's been hacked this year, it's certainly one of the biggest in recent memory. Yeah, not the first time they've been hacked this year. That's what a way to end 2023. Not only did you release one of the most bizarre and awful Spider-Man games ever made. I mean, I would rather go back and play one on like the ColecoVision before playing Spider-Man 2 for the PS5, but then you get hacked like this. You could have paid $2 million. I mean, that's kind of chump change to a company like you, isn't it, Sony? I'm not advocating you pay these hackers. Hey, look, they've committed a crime. Let's pay them off. But I don't know, maybe this is at least some incentive to fix your security issues. Then again, I don't want you to fix your security issues. I want this to keep happening. I want to see Sony ran into the ground. They're the Disney of the video game world. Wolverine gameplay footage, by the way, this is from comicbookmovie.com. Wolverine gameplay footage, cast, release date details, and full plot leak online after Insomniac hack. After Insomniac Games was targeted by hackers, the entire plot of Wolverine is leaked online, along with the release date details, gameplay footage, concept art, and several lead cast members. Now, we're going to get into very light spoilers here. I'm going to be real. They don't give a lot away. Comicbookmovie.com, for some reason, is trying to protect the integrity of this game, despite the fact that we all played Spider-Man 2, or have at least watched Spider-Man 2, or heard the news about Spider-Man 2, and for whatever reason, some people still have faith in this. I don't know. They really shouldn't be caring about spoilers, but they're trying to be good journalists, and so they do keep it spoiler free, so you don't have to worry about clicking away from the video. A total of 1.67 terabytes. Yeah, we got that part. We've already brought you the details and plans for the Spider-Man franchise, but now it's confirmed that Wolverine is the first of 3 X-Men games on the way from the company. They're tentatively dated for 2029 and 2023. As for Wolverine, it's coming a little later than expected, as it's currently eyeing a late 2026 release. While we won't be sharing or embedding any of the leaked content here, gameplay footage is doing the rounds online, which confirms Wolverine will be a third-person adventure game in the same vein as God of War. Now, I'm not going to be sharing any of the footage in this video, mainly because a lot of it's already been taken down off Twitter. I did see it earlier, and the game looks I mean, granted, it's not finished yet, and apparently it's a ways off from being finished. It doesn't even come out until 2026. Oh yeah, get people's interest way up there. You would at least think they'd want to release it around the same time as, I don't know, Deadpool 3. That way there's some collective interest in Wolverine as a character, Hugh Jackman returning. But yeah, no, whatever. Apparently they think that they can just coast on the success of Spider-Man 2. Regardless, there's really no reason for me to share a lot of the videos here when a lot of them have been taken down off Twitter. Just know that the gameplay looked about like you'd expect. Wolverine's doing a lot of wall running. He's climbing up stuff with his claws. It looked like what you'd expect a modern-day Wolverine game to look like, at least, again, from the partial builds that were floating around online. An over-the-shoulder camera is used, and it appears Logan will be able to use his senses to investigate various locations in a linear, level-based story. Concept art depicts Wolverine squaring off with villains like Sabretooth, Mystique, Lady Deathstrike, and even Mr. Sinister, where the Clawed Mutant will receive a helping hand from Jean Grey, a major supporting character. And when they say Jean Grey, a major supporting character, I think we all know what that means. Again, if you played Spider-Man 2. Jean Grey is going to steal the show, is going to usurp Wolverine in his own game, is going to absolutely take over the game, be the main character, and probably talk horribly about Wolverine and his masculinity the entire time. And I know, I've actually gone on record as saying we should not be throwing a fit about stuff when there's no indication that it'll be, quote-unquote woke or whatever. I've said that we were judging Furiosa too quickly, things like that. I think we can make an exception to the rule here for Wolverine when we saw Spider-Man 2. That's pretty indicative of what we're getting, and this is Insomniac and Sony. Yeah, Furiosa, you could say, well, we've seen other movies do it. At least in the Mad Max style and in the George Miller, we haven't seen him go full, modern Hollywood, modern audiences. I think there's room for leeway. There was nothing quote-unquote woke in the trailer. Spider-Man 2 was one big political fest, so yeah, sue me for saying that Wolverine probably going to get the same thing, especially if Jean Grey is going to be a major supporting character. The Hand, recently teased in Spider-Man 2, will also factor into the game that's set to largely be a story of revenge and the budding romance between Wolverine and Jean, because again, that's what you want in the new Wolverine game, is you want the Wolverine-Jean Grey dynamic, especially considering, according to this article, the X-Men aren't even formed yet, so you don't have Cyclops in the mix. No, it's gonna be a romance game. It's gonna be an action-adventure romance sort of thing. And most people, so far as I can tell, most folks in the comic book sphere don't actually like the Wolverine-Jean Grey ship. I grew up reading comics. The vast majority of people don't actually like that romantic relationship. It's something that that's in the books, the film's popularized, but fans have never been all for it, and there's a reason Wolverine has had many other love interests. The leaked plot suggests they will be a completely original approach to Wolverine's story, similar to what they did for Spider-Man, which I'll admit did work for Spider-Man, and we have seen Wolverine's origin a bunch, so I don't know, maybe that'll work, but also, we haven't really seen Wolverine's origin in a video game, and he's got a really cool backstory, so why change it? Now, starting with his escape from Weapon X and following him as he takes on each member of Sinister's Team X, the villain Sentinels. Jean won't be a member of the X-Men when we meet her. In fact, the team doesn't even exist yet as far as we can tell. Now, it does say as far as we can tell. Hopefully this is wrong and the X-Men do exist, because this is the, if you want to say, to change Wolverine's origin, whatever, they sort of did the same thing for Spider-Man. But to nix the X-Men altogether when they very much predate Wolverine as a character, nah, that is not okay. There are some major deviations from the source material, which are extremely intriguing. They're being very generous with the word intriguing as a source material fan. I say it sounds very bogus, destructive, completely and utterly unnecessary and annoying, because we've never gotten an X-Men and or Wolverine game to this scale. Why change the source material? Because they want to put their own spin on things, but we know these modern writers don't actually have the talent to pull it off, as exemplified by the story of, you guessed it, Spider-Man 2. Given the extent of Jean plays in the story, she may be a playable character, though we've yet to see any indication of that. There's also going to be a massive sequel tease in the game's closing moments, what a shock there, and they say they're not even going to say what it is because it's too big of a spoiler to share here, suggesting a plan for Wolverine's story to play out over a trilogy. Again, all these leaks made me do is realize that I am not interested in this game whatsoever. I could not care less. It's going to be a PS5 exclusive, which we already knew because it's Insomniac, and in no way, shape, or form am I going to be buying a PlayStation 5 to play some awful wannabe Wolverine game that's probably more of a, like they say here, God of War clone, and they're just using Wolverine, Marvel, the X-Men as an IP cash grab. They've done one good licensed game thus far, and it's been the first Spider-Man. Miles Morales was glorified DLC, and Spider-Man 2 was quite literally Agenda, the video game featuring Spider-Man. I got nothing in these leaks. We're like, hey, Leon, you want to play Wolverine? Absolutely not. In fact, I think we should bring back book burnings, but instead of book burnings, I'm going to start making pyres of the Wolverine video games and just take care of that. If anything, these leaks have proven that Sony, up through 2026, has not given a damn about what fans think, see, want, and are still doing nothing but going with agenda and destruction of the source material. But those are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or let me know on X, where you can find me at Bolt the Word. And please do subscribe. I am a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day. Not always about video games or Marvel comics, but anime, music, movies, Magic the Gathering, you name it. Go ahead and check me out on Instagram at wordsofparadise_Leon, because it's all here in the nerdosphere, and this has been Words of Paradise.